Well, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to episode 5 of the Z Roll podcast.
Well, hello.
That intro hit different today. It slapped different. That's what the kids say.
Okay.
Because it was a little bit loud in my ears. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know. I think we both reached down to turn down our headsets a little bit.
Different.
So
The kids say. Okay, so this podcast.
it's a bop, as they say too.
Do they say that still? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I mean,
I do.
The words, they come and go very, very fast. So this is going to be, this whole podcast is traveling with kids. We're just going to have a conversation. There's 2 conversations we had in the last couple months with 2 different people. And we thought we would talk about those conversations and why we travel with kids and why we love traveling with kids and
how to travel with kids, I guess.
Tips and tricks.
Things we've learned.
All that kind of jazz. It's traveling season. So we're going to talk about it. But we thought that our icebreaker today should be talking about traveling.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the question is a would you rather icebreaker question, because we start with this before we do any kind of podcast. We didn't know. Okay. And would you rather questions are just good for life.
They are.
If you need to get your
great
brain,
icebreakers.
Yeah. If your brain needs to wake up, throw down a would you rather question right when you wake up in the morning. Would you rather sleep in or get up? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, here we go. Would you rather be able to understand... No, that's not the right one. That wasn't the right would you rather question. That was a good one, but not the one we're doing today.
Okay.
Here we go.
Take
2. Would you rather travel first class everywhere, but only stay in 2-star hotels, or stay in 5-star hotels, but fly in a middle seat in economy every time you fly?
Is there option C?
There's no. These, as Tucker would say, you have to pick one.
I hate that because I had a very good first class experience last time we did it, and I was like,
but think of the last.
I don't ever want to
hotel.
fly any other way than first class. It was so nice, the breakfast they serve you.
It was very nice.
It was just
it's also
nice.
Very expensive.
I know, but I'm also really big about hotels.
Yeah,
really big about the rooms.
So, I mean, honestly, first class is awesome. I mean, but this is the thing. With the would you rather question, it doesn't matter, the money. Because they're just like, hey, if this was given to you, what would you choose every time? So you don't have to think about the money at this point. It's just like, hey, if someone's like, hey, here's a coupon for the rest of your life, what would you do? See, that's hard.
I think I'm going to go with the sitting economy, but with the 5-star hotel.
Yeah, I will too.
Because I think your hotel room can really make or break your vacation, where you stay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're like, oh, we got to go back to our hotel. Or it's like, oh, great, we have to go back to our scary room. Because we've stayed in some scary motels before, let's just be honest.
Yeah. However, not as scary as when I used to tour in a band.
Yeah.
We stayed in... there was
Bates Motel style.
There was cigarette butts in the mattress. There was some stuff, guys.
Yeah,
that's another story for another day.
Okay,
but anyway, I think I would too. 5-star hotel, all the way. It just it just slaps different. Okay, here we go. By the way, if you can hear our squeaky chairs,
it's not my squeaky chair. It's your squeaky chair.
It's my.
Mine's really good.
It really is my squeaky
chair. We need WD-40. We know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do. We still haven't got that yet, so we'll work on that. That's one of our goals this week on the to-do. WD-40 our chairs.
I'm going to add it to the list right now. We're going to forget. Yeah, sorry, guys.
100%.
Business
is literally adding
with pleasure right now.
to the grocery list. Okay, let's talk about these stories for a minute. But first off, actually, before we talk about these stories, we wanted to talk about Good to Grow.
Yes.
Good to Grow is actually sponsoring this video podcast and audio podcast. So thank you, Good to Grow. And, the reality is it's road trip season right now.
Yeah.
And everyone's planning
Travel
their vacations.
Time. Yep.
And
camping.
We don't go anywhere unless we have Good to Grow. I mean, that's just the reality. We've had Good to Grows in a lot of our vlogs, a lot of our road trips. But Lacey, what is Good to Grow?
What is Good to Grow?
We should talk about that.
So Good to Grow, you may have seen them. I feel like, I don't know, if once you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I see those because they're in gas stations and grocery stores and Target when you walk in. But they're the little drinks and they've got all the different characters you could think of, like the Paw Patrol. They've got Jurassic World. They've got your Disney. They've got it all. And you can take off the top and interchange them. And our kids love them. They don't leak, which is amazing. They do not spill. So you can tip it upside down, drop it, whatever. They're spill proof. They're amazing. And now they actually have out a new thing. They're called snackers. And it's kind of similar to their drinks. So it has like a cover with a character top. And it could open and close and keeps their snacks in them. They've got
it's like their personal little bowl.
Yeah, and our kids love, like, at the end of the day, like, we'll do, like, you know, watch a little show or something, and they're like, can I have my bowl with, you know, whatever their snack is? And these are awesome because there's so many times they've dumped them on the couch. And I'm like, come on. And now it's like they've got little lids, you know, it's really cool. And then they're easy to take on the go in the car. Yeah. So
they're awesome.
They're really cool. Really, really excited.
If you want to check out more of what Good to Grow is and, you know, information, they have, you know, Instagram, TikTok, but go to @GoodToGrow, and they have giveaways and some other fun things, so check that out.
Yeah. And kids don't know this because they just think it tastes good, but they don't have like any added sugar in their drinks, which is a plus for the parents. So it's not like you're like, you know, giving them a bunch of sugar too, because they love them. So so that's good too, and they're healthy, which I love too. Yeah, because the snackers, I think they are made with whole grains as well. So yeah. It's
awesome.
Win-win all around.
Thank you so much, Good to Grow, for sponsoring this podcast. We love you guys, and we're so very thankful that you're supporting our channel.
Yes, and we'll talk about them more with traveling with kids, and how we've used Good to Grow to help us in our travels.
Yeah, so, for sure. So here we go. Okay. So, traveling with kids. So we had 2 conversations, okay? And really in this last
recently
quarter, I would say. And so the first thing was, let's talk about that lady in the airplane.
Okay, so we're flying to New Orleans and heading to a Disney cruise, as we love to do. And Junie was with us. She's sitting on my lap, and this lady next to me. You're always nervous, like who you sit by on the plane, because you're like, oh no, are they going to be like, oh great, I got sat by the lady with a baby or with kids, and you know, because you just never know. And so it was a really full flight, and she sat next to us, and I was just like, hi, like, and she started talking to the baby and Junie and stuff. And we had some small talk, but by the end of the flight, she was just saying how well Junie did. She's like, wow, she's a great little traveler. Like, she did really good on the plane. And I'm like, yeah, I think by this time it was like her 4th flight, because we did another trip with her prior. And I'm like, well, she's just kind of go with it. Like, we love to travel, so she's going to travel. And she was just sharing. She's like, I think that is so great. She's like, my daughter was about this age when we started traveling, and she's an adult, and she just still absolutely loves to travel. It's just part of her nature, who she is. She just loves it.
Part of her DNA.
And she's like, and she's a great traveler. And she's like, and I think it's because we started with her young, and she just learned how to do things, and we took her and taught her things. And so the lady was just like saying, like, good for you guys, like, keep doing what you're doing, keep bringing your kids and traveling. Like, I know sometimes it's hard. It was so sweet. She's like giving this little try, you know, there's those hard moments, but like, it's so good for them. And in the end, like, you're really giving them some good, like, life skills as you travel, and as they, you know, learn how to do that, because it is hard to travel with kids. Let's be honest. It's hard to do life with kids, let alone take them across the state or country or wherever you're going. So anyways, that was one conversation we had.
That was one state of mind. That was one mindset.
Right.
Okay. And now the second mindset, another lady talked to Lacey, and go ahead and explain that story.
Okay. So this one was a little bit different. It was one where I was like, couldn't really jump into the conversation so much. It was just more of one of those where like, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. But she was just sharing with me how they do not like traveling with kids. They don't want to travel with kids. They don't even call it vacation because it's not fun. They're exhausted by the end of it. It's just work, and it sounds exhausting. She hates prepping. She hates she wouldn't call it vacation, but the trip, I guess, if you want to say, and then the aftermath of it, because she always says, you know, things happen, or kids get sick, and I do understand things do happen, and there are those moments, but overall, it was like, we don't want to do it. We have to do it if we have to visit family, but we do not enjoy it at all. So that was another conversation we had as well.
I'm so glad you put the WD-40 on the grocery list, because goodness. this chair.
It's squeaky.
But yeah, okay, so those two state of minds. Okay?
Right.
So we have the one who's like, man, travel is awesome. It's good for your kids. I never regretted it. I'm so glad we travel when the kids are young because there's so many good reasons.
Instilled some really good traits in our child, as she shared, as she's an adult now.
And then you have the state of mind where it was like, we don't like to do it because it's exhausting. It's not worth it. It's just, what's the point?
Right.
Kind of thing. And obviously a lot of our YouTube channel is, we talk about traveling. We love to travel. And that's, part of the reason why we started our YouTube channel is to, document those, travel memories.
Right.
And so we kind of looked at those two state of minds and, and we get both where everyone's coming from. I get that. But we've realized like it's so rewarding traveling with kids. And I feel like if you do it right and you have these tips and you have these tricks, you're going to be fine. And it's just like, what's the difference, to be honest? Like, what's the difference between, I guess this is our state of mind. It's like either we're going to, raise our kids at home or we're going to raise our kids on vacation. You see what I mean? Like it doesn't.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's
no matter where you're at, you're still gonna raise and do life with kids. So if you're at home, great. If you're in the living room, great.
Right.
Or if you're on a cruise, great. It's just, I guess it's different routines, different rhythms. But in a way, we kind of just we transfer things.
Right. And I think
does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think to help with that too is the thing that people get hung up on is, with vacations, you do, save for it and they do cost money. So when things happen and you have to, like you were talking about, like parent your child or deal with a sick child or, they're having tantrums and you're on vacation, the difference with that than at home, it's almost like people have this mindset like, we're on vacation, nothing bad's supposed to happen.
That's true.
And I think that's what hangs like up people with it because they have this, you see the pictures on Instagram and you see the smiles and you see the laughter. And then when you don't have that and you have those like actual life moments that you have at home on vacation, you almost feel like this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it can almost ruin your vacation if you have those expectations. But the thing is, and we share this in our vlogs too, because it does look great. Like, because we don't show all the moments,
right?
Because we show, the laughs, the smiles and stuff. But then there are times where they're tired. But we're going to share some things we do to help with why we travel with kids. But I feel like that is a big reason. And I can understand that because you kind of have this persona of what it's supposed to be. And then you're like, wait a second. We're spending all this money on vacation and for you kids, and like you should be so happy right now. You shouldn't have tantrums.
This is the thing. I get that, but I don't.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because I get where people are coming from, and it's because we live in this comparison culture.
Right.
It used to be where keeping up with the Joneses was a thing where you just looked next door and you saw your neighbor come with a new car, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that car.
And that was it.
But now you are literally comparing across countries, across different cultures nowadays, and so it is definitely hard with the whole comparison game. But I guess the reality is like you have to live your life, not theirs. There's actually a really good book, Rachel Cruz. It's if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, his daughter, talks all about not falling into the comparison game.
What is it? Live your life, not theirs.
Live your life, not theirs.
Like yeah. Okay.
And it really puts it in perspective. But this is the thing. The first tip I guess we have for you guys, because we don't really have like 1, 2, 3, 4, but if I guess the biggest thing we have is set the right expectations.
Yeah.
You're going to have to parent your kid no matter where you're at. Again, if you're in the living room at home versus if you're on an island in Fiji, whatever, you're going to have to parent your kids. They're not going to be perfect angels. Actually, I would say they might even be more annoying, more disrespectful on vacation than they would at home because they're in a different, setting, rhythm, lack of sleep, whatever the case may be. They're just overstimulated.
Right.
Yeah. So I think don't compare. Like Instagram's fake. It just is. Like everyone shares the highlights on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's fine. It's fine if you can just know that, like, and then be excited for people. But we live in a so first off, don't compare.
Yeah.
Okay. Love your life, live your life, not theirs, kind of a thing. I mean, obviously love their life, but it's just talking about the comparison game.
Yeah.
Like just love your life, love what's going on, and don't compare and set the right expectations.
Right.
That is huge in vacation. Is going into the vacation knowing that there's gonna be discipline. You're going to have to, you know, maybe cancel an excursion or something because the kids aren't feeling it.
Right.
You may have to go with the flow a little bit more and not have so many plans. Or you may have to know that you may go into this canceling plans.
Right. And just know there's some things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
Like there are. And especially
like
when you're traveling. Yeah, just like at home too. And I think that's the hard part, because when you're expecting to have this great family vacation, making memories, and things are out of your control that don't go the way you want, you still have to just kind of roll with it and be flexible.
We get this question,
and make memories with that.
And we get this question quite a bit. And the question is like, man, I love how you guys just had to, like, you know, go with the attitude when the weather was poor on vacation.
Right.
And we look at that question as like, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. But also I'm like, that's completely out of our control.
Yeah.
So why would we even dwell on the things that are out of our control? But I think there's a lot of people that do dwell on the things that are out of control.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the problem. Is there's a lot of dwelling on the things that you can't just go with it. Who cares? Like you're going to dwell on this and then you're not going to enjoy your vacation. You know, and I think that's why people leave frustrated or tired or discouraged, or like, we wasted a bunch of money because there was stuff that happened that was out of their control and they couldn't get over it.
Right. So
the reality is, it's not really an adventure unless something goes wrong. I think Casey Neistat says that. Really? A great YouTuber. I think that's his quote.
Yeah.
Tucker, I honestly believe that number one, he's in a pirate costume. And number two, I think he's been in every single podcast we have ever filmed.
So now it just has to happen.
I guess it is. So anyway.
Hello, Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. So, okay, that's it. I think, you know, just take it on as an adventure. Okay, this is not going the way we thought it was going to go. Let's make the best out of it.
Right.
And honestly, I believe that we have... My email just came off saying, hey, you need to get your oil changed. I believe that when things went wrong and we just went with the flow and we adapted fast, those are the best memories we've ever had on vacation. Not the plans, not the things that had to be twisted.
The spontaneous things.
And it started out horrible. It started out frustrating. It started out annoying. But we twisted it and made it, and we look back on those moments like, man, that was the best part of our vacation.
And can I just say how good that is for kids?
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, I feel like 100%. COVID is such a good way for people to be, I mean, it's hard for adults, but for kids to be disappointed because so many things got canceled, like with schools and functions and trips, and kids are like, what, you know, learning that lesson, disappointment of things being canceled, because it's hard. Like, as an adult, it's hard. We're like, what do you mean our Disney cruise is canceled? Like, it's not fair. But like for kids, you know, we'll be like, hey, we're gonna go do this, and then, like, you know, we're planning on going to the pool.
The kids pick up on the parents' tone.
Oh, they do. And it's
so if
raining,
you're all bummed out and frustrated, they're gonna be bummed out and frustrated. Right. They're gonna share it in a different kind of way. They're gonna turn into a tantrum.
For sure. But you know, we didn't plan on there being a monsoon that we were gonna hit on our cruise. And so we can do the pool or even go outside and get ice cream the whole day.
So what do we do?
And the boys were like, you know, that they were excited to do that, but they were like, okay, like,
so we
what else
spun
can we do to make it fun?
Let's get in vacation mode. Today's the day we're gonna get in vacation mode. Let's relax. Let's put our feet up. Let's get a cup of coffee. Let's play some games. And we spun it in a different way. Yeah. Did I want to go and get my flesh burn on deck? Absolutely, I did.
Yeah.
I want to get a suntan. Did I want to go in the pool? Absolutely. Yeah. Did I want to see the ocean? Yes, I did. But you know what?
3 ice cream cones?
I honestly look back at that trip and I'm like, that was awesome, because I don't think I've gotten vacation mode that fast on a cruise before. Right. Because you're forced just to relax.
And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, we have the grandkids. Like, we're not here at all to do that.
No
but
way.
I do want to say I was very proud of our boys, the way they handled that day, because neither of them threw any kind of tantrum or any kind of thing. It was like, oh, what a bummer. Like, they were like, whoa, look outside, it's so cool. But because they've been through times before where we're like, sorry guys, we're not gonna be able to do this, or this got canceled, and they're used to being very flexible because we've done this with them so much.
So again, you look at the two conversations we had. The one lady who was like all about the adventure, all about the travel, like it's worth it, just go for it, even through the thick and thin, it's fine, go. And the other person, I won't do it because it's too much work.
Right.
I think the reason why it's too much work for that one lady, and again, these are scenarios. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to even go in depth of like these are real people at this point.
Right. Yeah. Just different scenarios.
These are scenarios now. Okay. Because I don't know this in a fact of these people.
Yeah.
But as these case studies, okay, are diving in.
Yeah.
The lady who didn't want to do it because it's frustrating, whatever. I'm wondering if a lot of it is because she can't go with the flow, and the tone is different, and her kids pick up on that tone, and then they are just out of control, and they're reactive to the tone. Yeah. Because sometimes as parents, it's frustrating. Things that happen on vacation, it doesn't work. The reservation's lost. The hotel is booked.
Right.
You don't have a rent-a-car. Like all these things, and this all happen to us. Yeah. Flights get delayed, canceled, whatever.
You get the minivan instead of the SUV.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes we literally are frustrated, but in our brain, we know that we are the ones that are setting the tone for this.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to just shut our mouth and maybe go to the bathroom, walk away, collect ourselves.
Yeah.
Think of a plan. I mean, there's times I'll walk away, go to the bathroom or whatever, and I'll text Lacey, like, what do you want to do? And she'll be like, I don't know. And we'll kind of discuss it, and we'll make a plan. We'll come back like, all right, boys, this is what we're going to do. We're not being fake. No. We've had to deal with it ourselves, but we know that we are leading our kids in the right direction. Yeah. And if they're going to see us every time there's an issue, get all bent out of shape, then guess what?
Yeah.
In normal life, they're going to do the same thing.
Right.
They all of a sudden they forgot their lunch. They get to school and they're just all bent out of shape. I forgot my lunch. Rather than just be like, oh, I forgot my lunch. Oh, I'll go with the flow. I'll go ask the teacher. Hey, I lost. They'll learn to problem solve.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's so good for kids to learn change of plans and disappointment, because it does happen in life, and there are things that just don't go their way, and if they can't handle that, and that's something we're still working with Landon for things, because sometimes when things don't go his way, he'll cry sometimes, but Landon, this is gonna happen, buddy. And you have to learn to work through it, because work through the disappointment. As much as I have moments I cry too, it doesn't help, but just helping them work through it. But anyways,
okay, so expectations,
moving on for that. Yes.
Comparison, setting the tone. Those are I guess 3 tips, if you will. Expectation, comparison, and setting the tone. They kind of come in the trilogy, but they're kind of separate as well.
Yes.
Okay, so those are huge.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Next thing I think we could talk about is why we travel with kids and how, and some things that we've done that have made it an easier process. Yeah. Because as we shared before, it is hard to have those moments with kids and be out of your routine where it's okay, I have to discipline my child right now. I'm in the middle of public. How do I deal with this? How do we do things, because they're out of line. But, we've found some things. I feel like a lot of it, and I actually learned this with teaching, with our students, when they have behavioral problems. We talked about this in one of my conferences, was meeting
Excuse me?
The basic needs. Yeah. So as a teacher, they told us, they're is your student just hungry? Do they just need a snack? And then they'll be ready to learn. Do they have some kind of irritant? Maybe honestly, with kids, it was like a tag in their shirt that was bothering them, or their pants didn't fit right, or their something with their hat. Those kind of things can just throw them off. So just meeting those basic needs. Are they thirsty? Maybe they just need some water. Do they need, so we try to find meeting those basic needs. And then it was amazing where I was like, wow, I can actually teach them. The behavioral problem was gone. Sometimes there's deeper issues, but those are the areas we start with. So, I remember I forgot a big one. Okay, are they tired?
Yeah. 100%.
Are they tired? Because that is a huge one.
I remember one time we were in Disneyland and we were having so much fun. We were loving life, and we hit this wall, and all of a sudden everyone was just frustrated and irritable, and we're in the happiest place on earth.
Right. How
and
dare
the classic, parents and everyone just not happy, and it's funny when you watch.
I know it is.
Families who are just falling apart. And we've all been there. The happiest place on earth. And all of a sudden we realized that it was 3:30 and we had no food. Yeah. Because we're just loving life, going to ride, being all distracted. Yeah. And we're like, oh my gosh. So we stopped. We ate, and we were just oh my gosh, that was it. Yeah. But it's just, I know you're thinking that's your tip. Being hangry, I get to eat, but it's so true with kids, because
it happens so easily on vacations,
and they're on well, they're out. Everyone's out of their routines and their rhythm, and the beat is just different. on vacation. The beat is more up pace.
Right.
And you forget about that. And so sometimes you have to realize that as an adult, we just take care of it.
Right.
It's like kind of second nature. Yeah. It's subconscious. We're just like, if we're hungry, we get it. If there's something that's bothering us, we fix it. But with a kid, sometimes they don't know what to do. And so our job as parents is to help them problem solve for the next time.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it, they might, like Landon, he had like a really itchy shirt one time. And that was the shirt we gave him to put on.
Yeah.
So for him, he's just obeying putting the shirt on, but he was just like so aggravated by the shirt.
Yeah.
And finally we're like, is that shirt bothering you? He's like, yes. Yeah. And then we put a new shirt on, and he was just like
a new man,
a new little
man,
because he wasn't distracted by this stupid shirt. He was able to see everything else. It's little things.
Yeah, but so the things we do to try to help offset before we get there, because again, like when it comes to being at home, you're like, oh, you're hungry, go to the kitchen, make some food. There we go. On vacation, it's like, oh, I'm hungry and I'm hungry now. It's like, well, the line is like out the door and it's 30 minutes to wait here. And where do we go? You know, so you have to think ahead. Yep. So whenever we're doing anything, we think, okay, in the next hour, they're going to be hungry. So where are we going to go? What's the plan? So we think through those things. And again, like they don't always go to plan, but we do our best to prepare for those. So I'll always have snacks on hand. So speaking of good to grow, we'll have snacks on hand. You know, we always pack their drinks to keep with them. Even like in the hotel rooms, they're just always, we put them to bed. I need water. So we always get those on vacation because we're not worried about them spilling them in the hotel room. Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing about, actually, one thing I know.
Yeah. Sorry, scratch you.
I know we've been talking about good to grow a lot, but that Good to Go is awesome because once the juice is gone, we fill it up with water and have it at their bedtime.
And that's their water bottle for vacation.
Seriously, whenever that's why we buy them, because we have them for like the fun drink, and then we have them for a water bottle the rest. Yeah, and then they don't mix them up because they have their character.
Yeah, it's great. But so we'll keep snacks on hand. Keep those so we can like hold them off. If the line's longer, if we're waiting to eat and stuff. The other thing is like sleep. Like what we'll try to do is we kind of plan it around because our kids like to wake up early on vacation because they're just excited. Yeah. So if that happens, like we'll plan some just low key time throughout the day where they either Tucker can just nap because he'll nap anywhere. Yeah, Tucker. and if Landon just needs to just like debrief and just be alone, he can have some time on his iPad. But we'll plan that out because we'll be like, okay, they're going to be exhausted. And if we want to stay out later, like we need to find some time in the day where it's just chill for us too. So that helps a lot, I think, in the sleep aspect. So they're not like exhausted. And then what was the other thing I talked about? So snacks, sleep,
things that are aggravating.
Yeah, things are aggravating. So we'll kind of go through that. Just whatever things you're going to need depending where you're at.
Just make them, more comfortable and kind of in a way at home. Yeah. Kind of bringing the home on vacation. And again, it's like our thing is like we're either going to raise them in the living room or we're going to raise them on a cruise ship.
It sounds so weird. It does. Raise them on the cruise ship.
Well,
no, I know what you mean.
It doesn't stop. I guess that's the thing.
I'd say like the parenting, the training.
Again, I feel like when people take their kids on vacation, they feel like raising their kids, it stops. Like they're on vacation, so nothing should go wrong and everything should go right.
They get to do whatever they want. And I get you're on vacation, so there's times where Land's like, can I get this? We're like, dude, you're on vacation. You can have ice cream at this time, whatever. So I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys know like the rules in our home, and like that's not going to change.
That's the thing. The rules in our home doesn't change. Yeah, when we're on vacation, we might be more lenient on like bedtime and stuff, but we'll let them know what the new rules are, if that makes sense.
Sorry, one more thing I was going to say, back up that I was thinking.
I have something about Disneyland I want to share really bad.
Okay, sorry.
So let me forget.
Hold on. But the other thing I was going to say is when we talked about making it more like home is I'll have the kids bring like a favorite stuffy. So like Landon brings his Curious George everywhere. Tucker's got, now his favorite is our sweet dog Boston passed away, so one of you guys, the viewers, got us a little stuffy that looks like Boston, and now he does not go anywhere without him. And a blanket or something, so stuff like that'll just kind of bring him that comfort for traveling. I think is very important too. Anyways, your Disney story.
Well, I just want to talk about like the whole planning ahead piece. Okay, and then we can move on from this. But the whole planning ahead piece is so huge when it comes to like food and stuff, because we've been on vacations with other people who don't necessarily plan ahead they go get food when they're hungry.
Right.
And which is great.
Which makes sense.
It makes sense. But with Disneyland, it's a whole different ball game because you have the mobile order and all that kind of stuff. And so we have like literally we put timers on our phone sometimes to remind us, because again, we get excited about whatever.
Yeah.
So if we know we normally eat around noon, 11 o'clock, we're starting to mobile order our food.
Yeah.
So then we go on a ride, we do something, and we know after that we're going to go back and get our food. And so again, just like I know you're on vacation, and I know some people are like hardcore planners, like everything to the T. And there's people who are like, whatever. Me in the middle. The whole hardcore planners, you're going to have to let things go.
Yeah.
The people who are like, whatever, you're going to have to plan a little bit. Yeah. And I think, the reality is however you do vacation, it's vacation. It's fun for you. However you want to do it, how you want to do it. We just known, as far as vacations, if you're a hardcore planner, you know this. I think we all do. You're going to have to let things go sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
And those who are just with the flow, who don't care, you're going to have to plan a little bit, and those are the successes I think we've had with traveling.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything else?
So last thing I feel
like we're just scratching the surface.
I know, because I'm looking, I'm like, we're at 30 minutes and I feel like we have a lot more we could talk about. But I will say another thing. If you want to travel with your kids, I think something that is important that some people are like, I don't know. Let me just say it and then we'll talk about it. It's okay to have help.
Yeah.
So, we have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And so we are outnumbered.
Yeah.
And so we travel a lot with my sister, and she loves to travel. She loves Disney, and she helps us a ton with the kids. And I think that's so cool because she's making all of these memories with her niece, with her nephews, and also she's helping us out so much. And it's also nice because on vacation, then you and I get to go out sometimes and do a little day date or something, and she'll watch the kids. But I think it's really cool if you go on vacation, look into places like, I know Disney Cruise has childcare with the nursery and with the kids club. I know a lot of resorts have things too. Or go with, some family. If you have good relationships with some family, with grandparents, so they can help out with the kids, or an aunt or uncle. And again, I think there's times and places where we like to go just us, and I think that's so special. But I think if you're open to it, go with some people so you guys can help each other out a little bit. Yeah. I think that's important because, if you've got, brothers or sisters and they've got kids the same age and cousins, making those relationships, and then you guys can help each other out. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's really important too, to help each other out with, traveling, because you do need help sometimes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking. And I think sometimes it's like you can be on that place where like, well, we can do it. We're the parents. We're responsible. It's like, that's great. But also, you're going on vacation. It's going to look a little different. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, like, my sister coming along and helping us with the kids because, we'd like to go out,
Yeah, like we went to Disneyland with my sister and family and everything, and it was awesome because the kids play with each other, we help each other out.
Yeah.
We took their kids for a little bit so they can do their thing. They took our kids a little bit, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think the reality is everyone travels a little bit different,
right.
And so again, setting those expectations on how you both travel and the pace and all that kind of stuff. Because I think people just travel. Some people are like really slow travelers, some people are really fast travelers, and there's all kinds of different. I don't know if you guys have ever traveled with people, but it's different. And sometimes you find the people that you're like, oh man, we can travel with you all the time
together. Yeah.
And there's people that maybe not so much, and so I think you look at that kind of a thing as well. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking. And again, like we are blessed because Lacey's sister Cassidy, she lives with us, and she gets to experience traveling, and maybe she wouldn't have been able to do that. And so for her, it's very exciting and exhilarating and thrilling because she gets to go on these vacations.
Yeah.
But she's a huge help to us and all that. So we are blessed to have that. But we just went on a little road trip. Cassie didn't go with us, and and yeah, you can definitely know when Cassie's not there. But it's also like, I think all of our tips and tricks that we have shared, we play it out. And it's always a blast. Like we always have fun, and we just get it done. I guess that's we get it done. I don't know. A vacation for me is it shouldn't be a thing where life can't touch you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Like it's I think that's the mentality when you go on vacation, that you're not going to get sick and nothing's going to happen. I don't know why we have this mindset.
You're not going to go to the emergency room.
Yeah, we've been
there before.
We've been sick, ear infections, emergency room, fingers cut
Surgeries.
off. Like, seriously, I mean,
we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is I think it just happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
And we are very protective of our kids, and we have things in place to keep them protected, keep them with us, keep them, and we can talk about those later another time. But life hits.
Yeah.
And I think how you deal with it is good, and knowing that when you're on vacation, there's still life.
Yeah.
You're not in this bubble.
Right. Right.
So anyway.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to say?
I think that's it. I feel like if I get into any more, we might have to do a whole. Maybe we'll make a part 2.
We were discussing talking
traveling
about
with kids.
I guess this is more of those 2 case studies, those scenarios of the person who's like, do it because
it's great for your kids.
We didn't even talk about.
Are we thinking the same thing? I was gonna say we didn't even talk about the whole culture. How good it is for your kids to see different places, to see different
and learn
lives,
different
to
things
learn
and
different
lifestyles
things.
and ask questions.
And as a teacher too,
we went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like Landon was asking all kinds of questions on Bourbon Street,
right?
And it was good learning experiences.
It was.
And, how else would they visually see those scenarios and then be able to ask questions,
right?
And they're in a safe environment in our home where we can then discuss our morals and what we believe and why we believe the way we think, why we believe what we believe.
Yeah.
And that's important, I think. And they would never, I don't want them to experience it with some other guy or person or whatever. And me not being able to like share with them like our morals and why we believe what we believe.
Yeah. And I think as a kid, adults can do this, but we're just in our little bubble and we live in Idaho, we're in our world. And so you only think what's going on in the world is there. And so for a kid, like I remember we go to a Calvary Chapel church and he saw a Calvary Chapel sign in some other state we were in, I forget. And Lance's like, oh, they have a Calvary Chapel here. And it was just like blew his mind. I'm like, that's so cool. Like there's other,
right.
Calvary Chapels in the world. And he was like, that's cool. Like it's just good for them to get out of their world and see outside of it in a different
100%.
way too.
So we were going to talk about like just different ways of like how we plan and how we save, but that's a different thing for a different day. I think we can talk a lot about travel, and this is kind of more of a chit chat, what's on our brain from these 2 different conversations,
scenarios,
and why we like to travel, to the culture, to the expectations, to all that kind of stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah.
And you want to
I was say kind of like our pet peeve. We were like, I guess we'll have to do a part 2. Traveling with kids, we may have to do a part 2 as well.
I think we will, because there's so many more things I'm thinking about. But again, it's going to continue. We're trying to keep this around the 30 to 40 minute time frame. But we'll be back with more traveling with kids. Let us know if you want that. Let us know if there's any topics around traveling with kids you want to hear.
I was going to say, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on with traveling with kids. Were you guys like, you know what, we're going to wait till our kids get older till we travel. It's not worth it. Like, how do you feel about that? Or are you on the ends of like start when they're young? Or are you in the middle? Like, I'd love to hear like you guys' thoughts and things you've learned from it too, because I'm just curious, and I love to hear from that lady in the airplane who's her daughter is an adult now, and she did it since she was a baby, and she was just like, that I want to say awesome one thing too.
Traveling doesn't have to be this expensive thing.
Exactly. I was going to say that too.
With the comparison game and the whole Instagram, like traveling has to turn into like the thousands upon thousands of dollars. It doesn't have to be. It could be a very, 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 very cheap staycation.
Right.
It could be a little camping trip.
A little road trip.
Kids just want to spend time with you.
Right.
Like
out of the home. Right.
We want to spend time with each other out of the home.
Right.
Things slap different a little bit. Different, when we're out of the house. And so again, we did this little staycation a couple hours away, this little road trip we took, and I don't know if that video is out now. I don't know when it's going to be out, but if it is, we'll link it. But like, it was literally an overnight.
Yeah.
And it
didn't cost that
honestly,
much.
The boys are still talking about it, and they loved it. They can't wait to do another one. And it cost us, it was very cheap.
Yeah.
So again, I think
you don't have to do the moon.
Before we start like, well, I can't afford travel, it must be nice kind of a thing. It doesn't have to be big.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. It could be a day trip somewhere.
You could even just get out of your house, go do things you've never done in your city, and then like set up a tent in your backyard. You know what I mean? And do sleepover in the backyard. Like kids would just love that. Like get out of your routine. It doesn't even have to cost that much, but still feel like a little, you know, trip because it's like, we're going to all sleep in the backyard. I mean, you can get creative.
You can.
But
the fact of like, get in the car and just go drive around places or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, we get in the whole mindset of travel has to be this expensive thing, but it doesn't have to be. Right. It just doesn't. Mm-hmm. But we love it because it just, I don't know. There's a lot of good memories that happen. And a lot of
memories. It's taught us a lot. It's taught our kids a lot.
It also teaches us to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, with our kids and with our family.
Yeah. And
just slow down. Mm-hmm. And then we're ready to get back in the work week when that happens. Like this overnight trip was so healthy. Mm-hmm. It was so fast. It was like 24 hours.
Yeah.
But like I was so motivated to get back in the work week. And our kids were like so like they're
soaking it up that time.
Yeah, their tank was filled, you know, with just feeling loved and I don't know. It was great. Anyway.
And I wasn't, we could talk about something.
I know. I'm telling you.
It's like kind of like that quality over quantity. Because it's like you can be with your kids all the time and that's great. But what's the quality of time you're doing with them? Yep. How much time is your face in your phone on your screen? Yeah, you're like, well, 100%. I'm with my kid. So when we have these times, we try to make it very quality in the moments we have with them too. So.
It's awesome.
Anyways, we got to wrap this
We'll talk.
up.
Let us know if there's any more topics around this you want to hear about. Because man, we can do like a whole series of traveling with kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, we just want to say thank you again to Good to Grow for sponsoring this video. We love you guys, and we truly, we wouldn't work with a brand, guys, if we didn't truly love, and we truly love them.
We really do.
And this dates back to when we started our vlog.
Yeah.
So we're just excited we get to work with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, we love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.